Hello class 10 students of the ICSE board. Let's continue with our short poems and short stories. Today I'm going to deal with your poem The Glove and the Lion. So let's start with that. Hope you all are studying well and working hard for your boards. Let's start with the poem The Glove and the Lions. Let's read first about the poet. Leigh Hunt was born on the 19th of October 1784 and he passed away on 28/08/1859. He was a romantic writer, essayist, editor, critic, and a prolific poet. He was a contemporary of the Romantic poets Keats, Byron, and Shelley. He was also one of the most outspoken and effective journalists in the age of the French Revolution. Hunt is remembered for his vivid description, the lyrical quality of his verse, delight in nature, and for his mastery of mood and atmosphere. Set against a medieval backdrop where valor and gallantry are prized, Hunt's poem, The Glove and the Lions, is a humorous narrative that explores the dangers of allowing pride and vanity rather than love to dictate one's actions. Now, medieval backdrop over here means the medieval period was a time when animal fights were watched for royal entertainment. So, the royal entertainment in the royal courts was to watch animals fight in the arena. They used to have a round pit and they would be fighting over there with the spectators sitting all around. Okay, so that is called the Roman arena. So yes, so medieval backdrop is what I've explained to you. And vanity, there are different words for vanity. Vanity over here means self-love, arrogance, then boastfulness. All these mean vanity. So allowing pride and vanity rather than love to dictate one's actions, especially in a romantic relationship. Hunt seems to be making a statement against the stereotyping of men as the macho creatures who are engaged in a perpetual quest to prove themselves to their lady loves. The poem is to be read and enjoyed for its lyricism and gentle humor without trying to discover a central message or a moral. But of course, you must know the central theme from your examination point of view. So, first, before I read out the poem to you, I'll explain the setting to you. It is set in a world back in ages where there were kings and queens and all, and knights, etc. And this setting, when you read the poem, it transports you back into that period of kings and queens and royal court, where they used to the entertainment for them would be to watch the beasts fighting amongst themselves. Actually, there were gladiators also, where men also used to fight. But here we have a description of King Francis I. Okay, and he was a French king. He was a ruler of France, and he had this royal entertainment where the lions were fighting, and they all were sitting and watching. So, would you like to take down something about the setting? Please get your notebooks or pen or whatever you want. I'll dictate the setting to you. The setting of the poem. It is set in a world of kings, queens, nobles, and knights. The setting transports the readers to the royal court of King Francis I of France. It is set in an arena where a battle between lions has been arranged. It is set in an arena where a battle between lions has been arranged to entertain the court. The first stanza of the poem sets the scene describing how it was considered a royal sport for nobles in King Francis's court to watch lions fight amongst themselves. The second stanza of the poem describes the scene of the arena. So the first one, it tells you about how it was considered to be a royal entertainment. And the second stanza tells us about it describes the scene of the arena so vividly. It describes the scene of the arena so vividly that it takes the reader right there among the king and his nobles. We shall see when we read the poem. I hope you have got this setting. Let's read the poem. The Glove and the Lions. King Francis was a hearty king and loved a royal sport. And one day, as his lions fought, sat looking on the court, the nobles filled the benches, and the ladies in their pride. And amongst them sat the Count de Lorge, with one for whom he sighed. And truly, it was a gallant thing to see the crowning show, valor and love, and a king above, and the royal beasts below. Ramped and roared the lions with horrid laughing jaws. They bit, they glared, gave blows like beams. A wind went with their paws. With wallowing might and stifled roar, they rolled on one another, till all the pit with sand and mane was in a thunderous smother. The bloody foam above the bars came whisking through the air. Said Francis then, "Faith, gentlemen, we are better here than there." De Lodge's love overheard the king, a beauteous, lively dame, with smiling lips and sharp bright eyes, which always seemed the same. She thought, "The Count, my lover, is brave as brave can be. He surely would do wondrous things to show his love for me." King, ladies, lovers, all look on, the occasion is divine. I'll drop my glove to prove his love, great glory will be mine. She dropped her glove to prove his love, then looked at him and smiled. He bowed and in a moment leaped among the lions wild. The leap was quick, return was quick, he has regained his place. Then threw the glove, but not with love, right in the lady's face. "By God," said Francis, "rightly done." And he rose from where he sat. "No love," quoth he, "but vanity sets love a task like that." I'm sure you've understood a little bit of the poem. It's very simple, very easy to understand, but there are a lot of literary devices which we need to understand and do from the examination point of view. Now, basically, first of all, as we read the poem, I'll give you the meanings of the poem so that you know when I'm explaining the poem to you, it's easier for you, like I always do. Okay, so we begin with King Francis was a hearty king, means good-hearted king. Okay, then you come to the next para, and truly it was a gallant thing. Gallant is brave. To see that crowning show. Crowning is perfect. Valor and love. Valor is bravery. The king above and okay. Ramped. The meaning of ramped is to walk on a slope. All of you know what is a ramp. And horrid is horrible. They bit, they glared. Glared is looked angrily. Blows like beams. What is the meaning of beams? Large blocks of wood. Blows is large blocks of wood. Then we come to smother. Smother is cover. Smother is cover. Whisking. To whisk something means to take away something quickly. Whisking is to take something away quickly. Now, De Lodge's love here. Love here means beloved. De Lodge's love here means De Lodge's beloved. Beauteous is beautiful. Lively is full of life. Now the word divine. Actually, the word divine means heavenly. Okay. I mean, all of you know divine means heavenly. But here in this context, the word divine means rare. R-A-R-E, rare. a unique occasion, a rare occasion. Here it means that. I'll drop my glove to prove his love. So she drops her glove. And then the last line where we come to the word quoth. Quoth means said. Quoth means said. And vanity means too much of pride in beauty. That is the meaning of vanity. Too much of pride in beauty. Okay, so these are the words, these are the meanings that I want you all to make note of. And now we'll come to the style of the poem, the style and the form of the poem. Now this poem basically is in the form of a ballad. What is a ballad? A ballad is, you'll have the meaning of ballad. It's a poem which tells you a short story. You can write that down. A ballad is a poem which tells you a short story. So that is the style of the poem, okay, a short story. And it is in the form of a ballad, a poem which narrates a short story. It has basically 4 stanzas. It has 4 stanzas and each stanza has got 6 lines. 4 stanzas with each stanza having 6 lines. And there has been a use, when you are writing about the style, you have to write that he has used a lot of imagery in this. He has used visual imagery and he has also used auditory imagery. For example, in visual imagery, if you come to this very first line where he says, the nobles filled the benches and the ladies in their pride, and amongst them sat the Count de Lodge with one for whom he sighed. And truly it was a gallant thing to see that crowning show, valor and love, and a king above, and the royal beast below. So when you read this, you can imagine the entire scene, that the nobles are filling the benches, then there are the beautiful ladies who are coming in, and the king is sitting on the top. So it's a visual imagery. You sort of visualize the entire scene in front of you. Okay, and then visual imagery also comes over here where he talks about, in the second paragraph, if you see, they bit, they glared, gave blows like beams, a wind went with their paws. So it is like, they bit, they glared. This is an auditory imagery where by these words you can imagine what was happening, that the beasts were fighting fiercely. So that is the it's a visual imagery. Auditory imagery will be ramped and roared the lions. Yes, ramped and roared the lions, that is the auditory imagery. Like when they ramped and when they roared, so you can listen to the roaring of the lions, so that becomes auditory. Excuse me please, the first one that I told you was they bit, they glared and gave blows like beams is a visual imagery. So would you take that down, so that we don't make a mistake about the visual and auditory imagery? So style and form, you have to mention that it is, please take it down. Style and form, you have to mention it is in the form of a ballad. A ballad is a poem which narrates a short story. Then the poem has got 4 stanzas. Each stanza is of 6 lines. Each stanza is of 6 lines. And what is the rhyming scheme over here? You must know the rhyming scheme. The rhyming scheme is AA, BB, CC. If you see, the first line, loved a royal spot, sat looking on the court. See, AA. Then we come to the, and truly it was a gallant thing to see that crowning show, the royal beasts below. So again it is, the two lines are matching, so there are couplets. So the rhyming scheme is AA, BB, CC. That is the rhyming scheme. And the imageries, the visual imagery, you can write down. The poet so vividly describes the court of King Francis. The first, of course. The poet so vividly describes the court of King Francis the First that the reader finds himself seated with them. The reader finds himself seated with them. And then, for example, you can give the nobles fill the benches and the ladies in their pride. And amongst them sat Count de Lodge with one for whom he sighed. Then there is the second example is a use of short verbs use of short verbs to show the quick movement of the beasts, where we said those words: they bit, they glared, gave blows like beams. So it's a visual imagery. He quickly shows using short verbs to show the movement of the animals, of the beasts. Here it is the lions. And then auditory imagery. One, of course, is ramped and roared the lions. So in auditory imagery, we have ramped and roared the lions. There is also another one where he talks about a stifled roar. Immediately below that, see? With bellowing might and stifled roar. Stifled is suppressed. So with a suppressed roar. So that is again an auditory imagery, like it is a suppression of a roar, but the roar is there. And then there is one more example. Immediately below that, was in a thunderous smother. Thunderous smother. Smother means to cover up something. So, till all the pit with sand and mane was in a thunderous cover. So that is again an auditory imagery. Because all the sand, when the lions were fighting, the sand was flying around. So everything just got covered with that sand. Okay, what is a mane? That meaning of mane is long hair on the neck of a male lion. A mane over here is the long hair which is found on the neck of a male lion. Okay, so that much for the style and form and the introduction of the poem with the setting I have given you. Now I'll just mention to you the alliterations which are used over here. They're very easy to understand, the alliterations. You can just underline them. The alliterations would be, the first one of course would be ramped and roared. Repetition of the word R. Ramped and roared. Then you come to blows like beams. Blows and beams. So we have two B's over here. So do you know what is an alliteration? An alliteration is a repetition of a consonant. So here we have blows like beams. So b and b. Okay. You can also underline that blows like beams is also an example of a simile, because the word like has been used. So blows like beams is also a simile. Then we come to the next alliteration, wind went with. The wind went with, WWW. With wallowing, again the repetition of W. Then you come to the last paragraph on that page, seemed the same, sir, repetition of the consonant sir. Then you come brave as brave can be, repetition of B, br. So brave as brave can be. Also that is a simile again, because the word as has been used. So brave as brave can be. Then the next would be wood wondrous, WW, wood and wondrous, alliteration. Then ladies lovers, king, ladies lovers, all look on. So ladies lovers look, LLL. So again you have a repetition, that's an alliteration. Then the last line, great glory, GG, great glory. So these are all the alliterations which have been used in this poem. So those were the alliterations which were there in the poem, and let's continue with the explanation of the poem in detail. Okay, and as we go by, I'll give you the other figures of speech which feature in the poem. King Francis was a hearty king and loved a royal sport, and one day as his lions fought, he sat looking on the court. The nobles filled the benches and the ladies in their pride. Now you must notice the words over here, the ladies in the pride. This can also refer to the collective noun for lions, which is pride. So a pride of lions we say. So here he's saying the ladies in that pride means that the ladies could be as savage as lions were. They were so proud of themselves. They could be as savage as lions can be. Okay. And amongst them sat the Count de Lodge with one for whom he sighed. So to sigh means to take a long deep breath. So Count de Lodge, he was sitting with his lady love next to him. and truly was a gallant thing. And this couple was the one who caught the attention of the king. And truly it was a gallant thing to see that crowning show. Means that perfect show. It was very brave to see it. Valor and love. Valor over here is bravery. And a king above and the royal beasts below. So the king was above. Who was the king? King Francis the First. He was above and the royal beasts were below. Now royal beast over here refers to lion. A lion is a king of the jungle. But here we can see that these lions today, they were captured by human beings, and even though they were the lion, the king of the jungle, today they were being used just for the entertainment of the king above. Okay. Also, this word, the royal beasts, can also refer to, it can also be as a reference to the nobles of the court of King Francis at that time, because these nobles, they used to fight amongst themselves, and they had to fight amongst themselves to get the attention of the king. So it could also refer to that, to get a favor from the king. They ramped and roared the lions with horrid laughing jaws. Now, what do you mean by horrid laughing jaws? Horrid laughing jaws, the figure of speech over here is a paradox. What is a paradox? A paradox, write down the definition of a paradox if you don't have it. It is a phrase or a statement that seems self-contradictory. Now, what is so self-contradictory over here? Horrid laughing jaws. If you are laughing, you cannot be horrid. Horrid means horrible. So, it seems contradictory, but it can also be real. That is the definition of a paradox. A paradox is a phrase or a statement that seems self-contradictory, but in reality expresses a possible truth. That is the definition of a paradox. So over here we have this paradox with horrid laughing jaws. So it seems absurd, but it could be expressing a real truth. They bit, they glared, gave blows like beams. A wind went with their paws. So there is a quick movement of the verbs over here. Bit, glare, blows like beams. And with wallowing might and stifled raw. Now what do you mean by wallowing? Wallowing means to roll in mud or in water. We normally use this phrase when we are talking in our regular English language terms. We say don't wallow in self-pity. So to wallow in something means to roll in mud or in water. So here we are saying with wallowing might. So they are rolling in mud. Over here it is mud because it's a sand pit. Okay. So they are wallowing in with wallowing might and stifled roar. So their roars are all stifled because of the sand which is moving. They rolled on one another, till all the pit with sand and mane was in a thunderous smother. So the entire sand pit was covered with the sand. The bloody foam above the bars came whisking through the air. So they were fighting so ferociously that the foam which was coming out from their mouth, it was as if it was being carried up above. And because that foam was coming above to where King Francis was sitting with his courtiers and with his noblemen, that King Francis then said, "Faith, gentlemen, we are better here than there." Now, what do you mean by better here? Better here, here means in the arena, so on the top. So, we are better here in the arena than there. There means the sandpit. We are better off over here. De Lodge's love overheard the king. De Lodge's love means his beloved. Overheard the king, a beauteous, lively dame. We have a description of the lady over here. The lady is beautiful. She is a lively dame with smiling lips and sharp, bright eyes, which always seem the same. Now she thought to her mind that she had that feeling that the king considers himself to be above the royal beast. So if that is the case, let me try and prove, let me get that attention that my lover or the person whom I love, this count, he will do anything for me, and he is even greater than the king and the royal beasts, and that will bring great glory to me. So she wants to show her she wants to be boastful that I am so beautiful that my lover will do anything for me. Okay. So she overheard the king. She thought, the count, my lover, is brave as brave can be. He surely would do wondrous things to show his love for me. king, ladies, lovers, all look on. So everybody is present over here. Who's this? She's thinking in her mind. The king is there. There are so many ladies over here. There are so many lovers over here. They all are looking on. Looking where? At the sandpit where the royal beasts are fighting. The occasion is divine. Divine actually means heavenly, like I told you, but here it also means rare. So why is the occasion rare? Because everybody has gathered over here. Okay. Now she's thinking, I'll drop my glove to prove his love, and great glory will be mine. So she's saying that I'll drop my glove, and I know that my lover, the person whom I love, this count, he will jump in over there and he'll bring my glove back. And in those circumstances, it will be proved that I am the greatest amongst all. Okay. She dropped her glove to prove his love, then looked at him and smiled. So now see the words used over here. There is no conversation, there is no communication between the lady and the count. There is no communication. It is just the look of the eyes. It is a quiet, unsaid word, or an unsaid request, not request, but an unsaid, yes, you can call it a request, not a command, of course. So she dropped her glove to prove his love, then looked at him and smiled. So she just dropped her glove and she smiled at him as if to say that you love me, go and get my glove. Okay. He bowed. Now this count was so chivalrous, he was so brave that he understood what she was trying to tell him. And he just bowed, and in a moment he leaped among the lions wild. So without thinking, so he was really very, very brave, and his valor, there was no lack of valor in him. Okay, so he bowed and in a moment leaped amongst the lion wild. The leap was quick. The return was quick, and he regained his pace. So he was so quick in leaping in and coming back with the glove that before anybody could realize what was happening, he went down, he leaped, he brought the glove, and he came back. Now what he did is important. Then he threw the glove, but not with love, right in the lady's face. So he got the glove and then he threw it straight on her face, as if to say that this is not love. What you are trying to show is you are being boastful. And he just went off from the arena. He just left the arena. He exited from there. By God, said Francis. So now, because he has already left, it is the king who speaks. And the king says over here, by God, said Francis, rightly done. He rose from where he sat. So even the king got up from his place and he said, rightly done. So he agreed to the act of the count. And he said, what the count has done is absolutely correct. What has the count done? He has thrown the glove onto the face of the lady whom he so much loved. So thereby showing that she has lost his love. By trying to test him, she has lost his love. No love, quoth he. Quoth he means said he. Who is this person who is speaking? The king, King Francis. No love, quoth he, but vanity sets love a task like that. Vanity means sheer pride in your beauty, extraordinary pride about being beautiful and being very boastful of it. So the king agrees to the act and he says that this is no love. I really agree that this is no love, but it is just boastfulness that has set such a task to a person whom you actually love, because it was a matter of his life and death. The lions could have just torn him apart had he not been that quick. So basically this is the poem. It's a very simple poem, but it shows us three things. It shows us valor, bravery, courage. It also shows you the true meaning of love, and at the same time it also shows you vanity. Vanity means pride. When the ladies want to prove that my lover is the best, they will go to any extent. They are so savage. They are like the pride of a lion, that they are so savage that they don't bother about the life of the person whom they love. So in such a circumstance, it is not actually love. It is just being boastful, and it is just vanity. So that much for this poem. This is a very simple poem, and I hope you all are able to answer any question that is asked away from this poem. The themes, like I've explained to you. So that brings us to an end of this poem, and I'll see you all again at my next module. With that, we end this poem today, and I'll see you all in my next module. Till then, keep studying, keep practicing writing, look up your workbooks, and please do what your school teachers tell you. Whether your workbooks are checked or not, I have been telling you regularly, do take out time and please read the poems, learn bit by bit along with your other subjects. Keep learning and practice writing, because the faster you write, the better it will be for you. So, with that, I wish you all good luck and do keep studying. See you all next time.